If you don't know him, you don't know wrestling. This man has held 6 different belts. The only team to win all 3 major belts, the Crockett Cup. This man's a legend in his sport.
How am I not going to like this guy, right? He knows everything.
Now, I want to ask you one.
Welcome to another edition of Hero Television, along with my co-host Johngy. We're here with Mickey Housley. First of all, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. And for the audience out there, I've seen you perform. My wife has seen you perform. John yet has to see him, and we got to get him out there.
I wasn't invited.
He wasn't invited yet.
Okay, we'll get you on the next one.
But the thing is that for people that have seen you perform, how do you get your start in comedy?
I got my start basically through the field of karaoke.
Okay.
Yeah, I was having a bad night one night. My dad decided, he said, I'm going to take you to karaoke to cheer you up. And honest to truth, I thought karaoke was like, I thought only girls did karaoke.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys don't do karaoke. But he dragged me to it, and I did it. And I was like, yeah, guys do karaoke. I loved it, and I did that for like a year, got my stage presence and stuff, and decided, like, let me try this comedy thing.
Did you know growing up you wanted to go down this path?
People hinted at it, but I didn't seriously consider it. You know, I thought I was funny, but I didn't seriously consider it. I'm like, I just thought comedians was like something that, you know, it was way out there. Because you only see the people on TV doing it.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's not for me, but it found me.
So during your karaoke, what was your go-to song?
It was Usher. It was a song called "You Make Me," so that was the go-to song. A lot of R&B stuff, a lot of '90s R&B.
So how did you make the jump from I'm performing karaoke? I'm assuming you're good because you've got a nice timbre to your voice. How do you make the jump from doing that to comedy?
Well, the thing is, I can't sing at all. So yeah, I'm sorry my voice fooled you, but
Sounds like it was good.
yeah, it should, but it's horrible. But no, so I would compensate for it by doing like silly movements and stuff. I would jump on tables, slide across the floor, and just really bring the song to life that way through entertainment, and people would laugh. No one ever came up to me and said, "Man, you sound great," but it was always, "Man, you a fool." And so I'm like, but karaoke can only take you so far. So it's like, let's try comedy.
Because of all your things that you've been doing, you know, karaoke and then going to comedy, you know, you see it on television, one thing, but when you did that first performance, what was going through your mind?
Well, my first performance, I didn't even get to go on stage because I was late. And so, but when I did get to perform, 2 people laughed. There was probably 20 people there, and I got 2 laughs, and that was enough to make me say, yeah, this is what I want to do. If it weren't for those 2 people, I probably wouldn't be in front of you guys right now. Thank you to them over there.
And then because the business of comedy has changed so much over the years, one of the friends that I know through the show, Bob J., you know, there used to be tons of comedy clubs, and now it's kind of dwindled in some ways. How tough is it out there to get out there because everyone thinks they can do it, but know you're the proven professional. It's a little different.
Yeah, I kind of envy those guys that came up in the 90s because they had all the comedy clubs. And I remember a gentleman telling me, he was like, yeah, back in the day, you didn't even have to be a headliner. You could be a feature act and make a living, a good living. But, you know, now everything's like online. So it's like, you know, my wife and I will put together like YouTube videos and post it online because that's really where it's at now. So it's tougher from like the road travels and stuff, but the online kind of makes it a little bit easier if you put the hustle in.
Who would you say are your comic influences?
My dad, does he count?
Maybe he's funny.
Yeah, he's funny. You know, when I was a kid, I thought my dad was the funniest guy in the world. Now, as I get older, I realize, man, he's not that funny. But he tries really hard, though. You know, but he definitely, I feel like I get my sense of humor from him. And as far as comedians go, I like so many, but if I had to just pick one person, I would say Dave Chappelle.
A good choice.
Yeah.
Now, as your friends, obviously your friends know that you're doing comedy. Did they ever come up to you and go, hey, I got a great idea for you?
All the time.
And
I thought you guys was going to do it.
Are they usually good ideas?
No.
That's why he's a professional.
Right. Sometimes it might be like they'll tell a joke and it might be a part of it that's good. Like I won't use the whole joke, but I'll take that. I'll take the idea and run with it that way. But
And then with all the different ideas and, I mean, what's the process? Like you put together your set. You know, you have certain things where you're the headliner. Sometimes you're the feature. How do you determine what goes where?
It just depends. I guess when I'm the headliner, I get to play with the whole bag.
Yeah.
I get to use everything. But when you're not doing as much time, if I'm only doing 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it's like trying to figure out which kid you're gonna kick out the house. You know, so so yeah, it's definitely I like to switch it up. I guess I could be more consistent with myself, but I like to switch it up. Don't like doing the same thing. If I did this set yesterday, I want to try something different. So
Well, it seems like, the great comedians are able to do off the cuff, and we just saw you in a performance at Rosemont area, and you were just completely off the cuff. And are the audience members willing to play more nowadays, or are they just like, hey, don't pick on me?
it kind of depends. It's like, well, that Rosemont show, it was nice and intimate.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, let's play around. I guess when I was at the Improv when you saw me the first time, I could have played around there too, but it was like more of a formal setting. So it was like, let's do the
A
material.
little hard to find the audience.
Yeah. It's a big, you got 400 people, so you can't pick on everybody. But yeah, I like being able to play around. I host a show at the House of Blues on Tuesday. That's real nice. You get 30 people in there, and it's a great show. And so that's kind of where I develop my chops in off the cuff and improv and things like that. Plus, classes at Second City don't hurt as well.
Now, do you find yourself always thinking of comedy as, you're driving down the street and you're kind of looking at other things? Do you look at things differently?
You do. They tell you the old saying is have that third eye to be able to, recognize comedy, all the time. So, you for the most part, you try to, whatever you're doing, you try to see how can I make that funny or whatnot. So it doesn't always work, but.
And like when you're sleeping, do you ever wake up with a germ of an idea and then you write it down for the next morning?
Yes and no. I wake up with that idea, but I don't always write it down, and I kick myself later. So yeah, I try to get a better habit of with these smartphones now, you can just put it in your phone and all that cool stuff. But yeah, it's like I don't know, it's like inspiration that comes, and if you don't grab it, it'll float to the next person. And you'll see like, man, I thought of that joke.
And then because you've been performing for how many years now?
9 years.
9 years. What's the biggest change that you've seen in 9 years? Because, as we talked about, comedy has evolved they're saying back in the day with so many clubs, but what has evolved in the last 9 years that you've seen?
Like I said, really the online scene, the online media, because now it's like almost anybody could be a comedian now, because you got guys that do the YouTube, and they may have never touched the stage in their life, but because they got the YouTube following, now they're becoming, on stage comedians. So I would say just that the biggest change that just jumps at you is the online scene, and it's it's for everybody. It's it's for comedians or non-comedians as well.
And the thing is that because of success that you've had, that we've seen, jam-packed places, coming to see you, and the shirts that you got and everything. But what advice do you give to someone because they see the success that you've had and they're going, he's got something. What advice do you give them?
My advice is, it's the most cliche advice I think I could give, but it's do it as much as you can. Like when I started in Houston, back in 2009, I can confidently say from 2010 to 2011, nobody in Houston was hitting the stage more than I was. I was hitting it, and the work paid off. I ended up getting like second place in Houston's Funniest competition. I lost to a guy that had 10 years experience on me, but I was like 2 years in at the time. But just doing that, hitting the stage and meeting people, and people like, hey, want to put you on my show. So I think they say out of sight, out of mind. So if you're not getting out there showing face, then people will forget about you. Yeah, you'll ask, can I be on your show? They're like, who are you? So.
You're probably not going to believe this. As you're saying that, I actually think I saw you in Houston. No, I'm dead serious.
Really?
My sister lived down there. I used to visit, and we went. And I'm almost positive. But
Okay.
Anyway, from Houston, the various audiences in Houston versus Chicago, and I'm sure you've done anywhere else. Do you have to tailor your set towards the audience? Is there different styles that you give for each area?
I think it's for the most part universal. There's certain like local jokes that I can tell in Houston that I can't tell here. I got a joke about Michael Jordan. My favorite basketball player of all time is Clyde Drexler. So, so the joke works great in Chicago and Houston. If I take it elsewhere, not as much, But for the most part, I try to write universally so I can take my jokes anywhere. We can go to China with it if we want to.
And you mentioned your wife. She's also in the business.
Mm-hmm.
How's the competition there?
We're
going to ask her the same question at the show.
The competition's pretty good. She's real nice about it. If she comes up with a joke and I say that's funny, she says you can have it, and I say I'll take it. So she's pretty cool about it. No competition.
And the thing is that when you have a house full of just the brilliance and ideas and stuff, I mean, you guys probably have collaborated sometimes on certain things.
Oh yeah. Like I said, we do videos together. We've done shows together, and people always come up to us afterwards and like, are y'all really married? And I'm like, nah, we just thought that'd be funny. Like, nah, we're married. We know each other's snoring patterns and all that cool stuff. But yeah, we're always coming up with stuff, and we're around each other all the time. So we got a lot of this. We went to Second City together, and just.
And the thing is that not only are you a talented comedian, but also you're an author. Tell us about the book.
Yeah, the book is basically my story from when I started, all the ups and downs. I kept it 2 months before I started. I decided I wanted to keep a journal and chronicle, everything. I didn't even know I'd get to this point where I'd be in the Comcast Studios, but yeah, I just wanted to chronicle everything, and whatever success I attained, journal that. Whatever failures, journal that as well. I won competitions and slept on park benches in L.A., so I detail all that. I get booed off stage, Yeah, I tell everything.
Wow. And what's the book called?
Chronicles of a Stand-Up Guy.
And they can find that on Amazon?
They can find it on Amazon, and now it can be also found on my website, MickeyHousleyLive.com.
Are you going to do the audiobook too?
I might do a karaoke audio version of the book. Yeah, I might. There's a guy I used to work with. He's like, I won't read your book until it's audio, so I got to do it.
Now, you've been on stage, you've written a book. Any other main goals in the near future?
Yeah, I wanna do everything. I wanna write a movie as well. Write a movie, and even outside of comedy, I'm working. I'm marathon training. Yeah, so I'm doing that.
Good luck. I've done a few.
Really?
25. Yeah,
20,
not to brag.
25. Cool. Yeah. So write a movie, the marathon. Just a bunch of things in life. I want to be a chess grandmaster. Just
Got lofty goals, my friend.
Yeah. Fluent in Spanish. Got a bunch of goals.
Now, getting back to the marriage, does your comedy style differ dramatically from your wife's, or could it be interchangeable at times?
Yeah. Well, we both talk about the marriage. She has her perspective. I have my perspective. I do a lot of. I'm more physical than she is. I like to run around and dance a little bit, hit the floor or whatnot. But I think she's a little louder than I am. So she has that vocal thing going for her. But yeah, outside of our topics, we talk about ourselves and then our different perspectives. So some of it's different, some of it's the same. But we don't sound like each other.
I hope not.
No.
And on that note, we're right back with more of Hero TV.
Hi, everybody. This is Tony Ocean, and you're watching Hero TV, where everybody's a hero.
Welcome back to Hero TV. We're here with Mickey Housley. Mickey, we have seen you from opening to headlining to all these things. And the thing is that what gets me most, what is your favorite joke that you think is your tagline? Because I mean, when I hear some of your jokes, I'm like, that's Mickey's joke.
I would say have two. Well, one, I'm married a little bit, which has made its way on a shirt. Yes. And the other one, I talk about my weight, being skinny. So he is petite, is what they used to call me. So I would say those two. He is petite, and I'm married a little bit.
And with all your success, who were your heroes growing up?
My parents, for sure. They raised 4 kids together. They had more altogether, but they raised 4 together. And I think they really stuck in it for us. And my dad, like I say, the sense of humor. My mom, she's like the most sacrificing woman ever. Like, she'll go hungry to make sure. I think all moms do that, but I maybe some don't. But I'm glad to say my mom does do that. But outside of family, like I said, big Clyde Drexler fan.
Okay.
Now
we know what to get you for your birthday.
Yeah, some Clyde Drexlers.
Clyde
some
Drexler,
shoes.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll work. But I would say them for sure.
Now you wore a special shirt today. Can we show the audience and could you explain?
Oh
it?
yeah, it's a scripture. So my mom, she kept us in church growing up. So we stayed out the streets and stuff. And when we tried to do, she'd throw a Bible at our head. And basically, I came across this reading it one day. It's Genesis 21:6, and says, "God has given me laughter. Everyone who hears will laugh with me." And I thought, like, man, if that's anything close to a comedian, I think that's it right there.
And you mentioned Dave Chappelle. You've mentioned Clyde Drexler. Have you got to meet any of your idols, any of your heroes?
I have not. I met a niece of Clyde Drexler's. That's the
brushes with the relatives of the family.
Right. That's the closest. And no, I have not. I'm also a big. You guys may not be familiar. He's a rapper out of Houston named Lil Flip. He had some success, but I'm a big Lil Flip fan. I have met him. But
well, how cool is that then?
It was cool. It could have been cooler, but it was like one of those CD signing things. So it's just like, hey, how you doing? Next person in line. Yeah. So it'd have been cool to like meet him somewhere cool and like talk to him for a little bit. But in due time.
Well, and the thing is that with all the success you've been having and, all the different clubs, is there a certain club that you like to perform at that's like your home club, or you just feel like, it's you walk in and it's like everything's going good?
I would say the House of Blues. Yeah, the House of Blues. I'm there pretty much every other Tuesday.
Okay.
It's a 7:00 show, 7:30 show. So yeah, if anybody listening, be sure to come to the House of Blues on a Tuesday.
And with the all the different clubs that are in Chicago and stuff, do you see more people still coming out to the clubs, or is it, you were talking about online and stuff? Do you still, it's that intimacy of a comedy club?
Yeah, I think definitely much so. People still come out. What amazes me about Chicago is that people come out in the freezing cold. Yeah, I'm a Texas kid, so I moved here thinking like, man, nobody's gonna come out in this 20-degree weather, but people come out. So it's better. I guess it's better to be out having fun, warming your body up, than being at home eating cold pizzas.
Cold pizza's good, man. So, what does it feel like to you when you're kind of a role model now for younger? I mean, it's not that you're old, but the young
do you
guys.
see gray or not?
No,
He's got the gray.
No, but like the younger guys coming up, I'm sure you're a role model for them.
That's I'm glad you bring it up. It's kind of weird for me almost because it's like, I'm 9 years in, and your first 2 to 3 years you're looking up to everybody, and then 9 years in you got people asking you questions. And I'm like, what are you asking me for? You supposed to ask him? And I'm like, oh, I have been doing this 9 years now. So learning how to embrace that, because I'm always super humble about whatever's going on with me, to where I'm like. Nah, you don't need to ask me that. But I guess people do respect what I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, maybe I can share some insight with the younger generation, and I think that's our responsibility. One of my mentors, Leroy Williams, he was a great hypnotist. He used to always he would help me out, give me so many opportunities, and I say, how can I pay you back? He said, don't, just pay it forward. So
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a movie earlier, your future goals. Any idea, a germ of an idea, a direction that the movie might go in, without revealing your script, obviously? You don't want anyone stealing your idea.
I got so many ideas. I haven't narrowed them down. I had one idea of, I got like comedy ideas and stuff. I had an idea of like a guy dating this girl, and the ex-boyfriend comes back in the picture, so now they're competing. This guy doesn't feel like he has to compete because he's with her, but she's like, "Nah, if you want me, you gotta compete with the ex." So that's like it's kind of loosely based on a true story, but so that's one idea. But I got a bunch of ideas. I want to do like a comedy crime as well. Comedian gets killed and they're trying to find out what happened. So just a bunch of different ideas.
Well, if you're looking for crime reporters, I'm just
Okay, we got you, John G.
See, again, this is like the
Shameless
thing
plug.
on the plugs on every single show. Lately, it's been going. Where
You
can
know I
John
ran a
fit
marathon
himself in
too,
there?
right?
I was with both of us.
No. You said you.
No, I went there. I said,
Right.
Now, what's that? What's the previous show about the clown that's a detective?
Rex Coco, the clown noir from
Yes.
James Finn Garner, who's
Okay,
who's
I
also
haven't
on
seen
the
that one
Chicago
yet. Really?
comedy scene.
Okay.
Yes, he has how many books has he written on that?
He's written 4 on that, but he's done all sorts of other
So
books.
I gotta catch up then.
There you go. Now, when you're not performing, what do you like to do for fun and relax?
I'm really into chess, and almost to an addiction. My wife, we've had fights over that. So yeah, really into that. I'm still an avid karaokeer, and I would say those are the main two. Basketball and now running. Now I gotta catch up to John's 25 marathon.
Yeah, I'm glad you put all these lofty goals for him on
Yeah,
that.
you kind of scared me. I'm like 25. I don't know if I can do that.
No, that's a lot of running. But with the different comedy clubs and stuff, for the people out there, how hard is it to book yourself sometimes? Because you're trying to get yourself out there, and they do see your name on all the different posters and stuff. But how easy has that opened up the doors over the last few years?
That can be very difficult. With comedians, we'd like to just go out there, be funny, and then everything fall into place. But then you realize like there's really a business aspect to it, and so it takes getting up in the morning and sitting in front of a computer, emailing. Me personally, I realized the best success is going out there and showing face, because you can email a booker. And they're getting tons of emails. So a lot of times I notice when I actually go out there, even if sometimes I've driven like 3 hours just to like showcase, for free, and and it was beneficial down the line. So yeah, it's definitely don't be discouraged, comedians. You put in the work.
And not that it happens often, probably very rarely, but what happens if you go out there to do a set and it just bombs?
Yeah, you just you go home and tell your lady about it. You cry.
Or do you have like a backup plan, or do you just go forward with the set that you had planned?
No, you just quit. No, you really
That's just like just quit.
I learned like through experience, like in the beginning, like for a newbie bombing, it can be devastating. But as you get older, you learn how to, if the laughs aren't going, it's difficult. You learn how to not. If a joke doesn't go well, you learn how to take the edge off of it, maybe by moving on to the next one a little quicker or whatnot. Sometimes maybe just acknowledging it, because sometimes when you acknowledge it, it breaks the ice and the audience laughs that way. But overall, if a set doesn't go well, you just got to, it's kind of like athletes say, you got to have a short memory. Kobe Bryant had games where he scored 14, but the next night he scored 60. So yeah.
And I always ask this. When you're up there performing, do you ever at some point just kind of soak it in and go, wow, this is like really cool?
Yeah, it's a high. It's one of the best highs. That's why I said those first 2 laughs I got, it was like, they say the drug addicts, they get that first high and they chase that, So once I know I could because when watching comedy, I always thought that there was somebody behind the camera telling everybody to laugh and stuff. And then when I saw it live, I was like, oh no, they're getting their laughs on their own. I said, well, can I do that? And when I did, yeah, it's the greatest feeling. Comedians, I truly believe we got the coolest job in the world.
And for the audience members out there, how can they follow you, and what things they can, certain websites, upcoming shows, what's the best way to come see you live to perform?
Well, like I said, the website, MickeyHousleyLive.com is the best way. Also, I'm on all social media platforms. I've been on Instagram 5 years, and I have 15 followers. So for those of you out there, follow me. At Mickey Housley, Facebook.com/Mickey Housley. And Twitter is Mickey_Housley. There's another Mickey Housley out there that beat me to the punch on that one.
But it's not as funny.
It's a she, and I think she bakes cookies or something. I don't know.
Cookies.
Yeah, I'm a cookie lover too. Sorry. And also, I host a show every third Wednesday of the month at Simone's in Pilsen, the Pilsen section of Chicago. So yeah, like I say, it's a totally fun show. We're 4 years strong over there, and we'd love for you guys to come check that out too.
Cool. We definitely appreciate your time coming out here. And as I said, for the last 20-some years on Comcast doing Hero TV. I mean, there's not that many. There's a lot of comedians out there, but there's not as professional and nice guy as you'd meet. Because as I said, not only was he funny on stage, he was talking to all the people coming out after the show, and we're getting to know this guy. And that's why you want to see a different side of a comedian. Oh, he's funny, but it's they always say it's nice to be great, but greater to be nice. And this is one of the great guys here. Right. So once again, thank you for watching Hero Television. We'll see you next time.
So just between us, we won't tell him. Who's funnier, you or your husband? he won't know.
Well, you know what? My husband is very funny.
That didn't answer the question.
I know.
Okay, we'll switch gears then. Very diplomatic of you. So you said your role model in poetry was the sexy poetry?
Mm-hmm. Rain the sexy poet.
Rain the sexy
poet. Gotta say Rain. She will.
I don't want her after. So being that she was your role model, and then you got to, she mentored you, she became a friend, obviously. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
That was amazing. For someone to have such a big following and really take me on her wing, it was just amazing that I was able to even be next to her most of the time, to be able to be a part of her poems. We made poems together, wow. So she would have a piece and I would have a piece. We would do it together. We actually did some scenes, even with my husband included. So it was just an amazing experience to be around her.
And with the poetry and you talk about your influences and stuff. What else would you like to write about? Just today's events, or other things that inspire you for your poetry?
It's whatever that hits my heart to write down. It's not always social events. I have, other poems about other things, but mostly I have inspirational poetry to inspire people to be better than themselves.
And you've done so much with inspiring people because of your successes. What advice do you give to people that come up to you? It's like, hey, you're so funny. I want to become a comedian, or the poetry. What advice do you give to them?
I tell them to do whatever they want to do and don't let anyone tell them that they can't, because 9 times out of 10, no one knows your potential. I remember when I was coming out of high school, my advisor told me I couldn't go to a 4-year college right out of high school. And I was like, well, why not? Well, the backstory is I was in an accident and I lost a grade. So I was noted way down in the GPA. Yeah, my GPA wasn't as good, but it was a 2.6 or 2.5. So it was good enough. It was just I was slow in my class. And he told me, he said, you probably can go to a community college for 2 years and then go to a university. And I was like, no, I'm going straight to a university, because I knew my potential. And I did my research and I went straight to a university. Just like that. You just have to go for what you want and not let anybody tell you what you can't and can't do. So that's the advice I would tell everybody, Even my first show in comedy, a lot of people told me I was going to struggle on my first show, my first real paid show in comedy, and I killed it. Like, I did one of the best performances in that show. So, yeah, that would be my advice. I would tell any and everybody who comes to me for advice.
Now, you've done a ton of... He's got the grit. No, but I think, the younger guys coming up, I'm sure you're a role model for them.
That's... I'm glad you bring it up. It's kind of weird for me almost.